For nearly 60 years, Sally Field seemed to live the life Hollywood wanted everyone to see: beloved star, two-time Oscar winner, devoted mother, and one of America's most respected actresses. But what if the woman audiences thought they knew was hiding an entirely different life behind that familiar smile? What happened inside her childhood home that she kept buried for decades, and why did she wait until her 70s to finally reveal it? Behind the awards, the applause, and the unforgettable performances was a private story of fear, trauma, painful relationships, and secrets that quietly shaped almost every chapter of her life. At 79, after nearly 60 years in the public eye, Sally Field has quietly retreated from Hollywood. To outsiders, her departure appeared serene and dignified. But those closest to her sensed a deeper weight behind her silence, a lifetime of unspoken truths. For years, she carried burdens no camera ever revealed, pain buried beneath accolades and applause, a story that only began to surface in the final stages of her life. Why did she wait so long to speak about what she had concealed since childhood, and what truly unfolded within the walls of her Pasadena home experiences that would silently shape every character she ever portrayed? The reality runs far deeper than most fans ever imagined. On the surface, Sally Field's early years seemed unremarkable. Family photos, school records, California addresses, all the markers of a stable upbringing. Yet beneath that facade, something darker was quietly taking root, shaping a young girl in ways she wouldn't fully understand for decades. The hurt didn't arrive all at once. It seeped in gradually, becoming part of the emotional air she breathed, subtly molding the woman she would become. Born Sally Margaret Field on the 6th of November 1946 in Pasadena, just outside Los Angeles, she entered a world already close to the entertainment industry that would later define her, though she had no way of knowing it then. Her mother, Margaret Field, was an actress when work allowed. Her father, Richard Dryden Field, worked as a pharmacist and had served as a U.S. Army captain during World War II. For a short time, the family held together. But in 1950, when Sally was just 4, her parents divorced right as her earliest memories were forming. From the start, family life became synonymous with instability. 2 years later, on the 21st of January, 1952, her mother remarried, this time to actor and stuntman Jock Mahoney, traveling to Tijuana, Mexico, for the ceremony. That union reshaped the household once again, introducing a new presence into Sally's world. At first glance, the change seemed glamorous. Mahoney was tall, striking, known for playing Tarzan on screen. Their home buzzed with visitors from Hollywood producers, actors, stunt performers, immersing Sally in show business long before she pursued it herself. But behind the glitz, life inside the house was anything but safe. In interviews and later in her memoir, she described Mahoney as someone who frightened and belittled her. He could be charming one moment, terrifying the next. She recalled one incident when he flew into a rage and hurled her across the yard, an image forever burned into her memory. It taught her a lasting lesson. Home wasn't a refuge. Danger wasn't occasional. It was woven into the atmosphere. Even the sound of his footsteps could send her into panic. As she grew, school became more than routine, it became sanctuary. She attended Portola Middle School and later Birmingham High School in Van Nuys, graduating in 1964. On paper, these were typical American school years: sweaters, flats, teenage rituals. But in truth, they offered her a space where she could simply exist. She threw herself into drama classes and school plays, making people laugh. Classmates voted her class clown, a title that sounded lighthearted, and sometimes was. But humor was also armor. Acting gave her a way to escape the fear waiting at home. Each performance let her stay out a little longer. Each laugh reminded her how powerful pretending could be. For decades, much of what happened behind closed doors remained buried. Then, in 2018, Sally Field finally gave voice to those long-suppressed memories in her memoir, In Pieces, released on September 18th. The book unveiled a timeline of suffering she had carried in silence for most of her life. She revealed that Mahoney had sexually abused her throughout her childhood, continuing until she was about 14. He would call her into his bedroom while others went about their daily routines, the quiet, manipulative nature of the abuse making it all the more devastating. It happened under the guise of normal family life, leaving no visible scars but deeply damaging her sense of safety, self-worth, and trust. Even her own questions took years to surface. Had her mother suspected? Just asking that felt like a betrayal. And by then, Mahoney had already died in 1989. The impact didn't end with childhood. In her late teens, Sally battled severe depression, uncontrollable anger, and episodes of binge eating. At the time, she didn't understand the source. It wasn't until therapy and the long process of writing her memoir that the connections became clear. Ironically, acting became her unexpected lifeline. In the early 1970s, studying at the Actors Studio with Lee Strasberg, she gained more than technique. It became a space where the anxieties and instincts formed in childhood could finally be channeled into something meaningful. Still, old patterns lingered. She later recognized echoes of her past in her relationship with Burt Reynolds' emotional dynamics shaped by earlier trauma. Even after winning Oscars, the timid girl who once listened fearfully for footsteps never fully vanished. She simply learned to move forward, find moments of light, and deliver her lines. That inner resilience helps explain the tension beneath her early fame. In 1965, at just 19, she attended an open casting call for Columbia Pictures and landed the lead in Gidget, ABC's lighthearted surfing comedy. It aired from the 15th of September 1965 to the 21st of April 1966, only one season, canceled due to low ratings. But summer reruns unexpectedly turned it into a hit. Teen viewers discovered the show after its run ended, and suddenly, Sally Field was everywhere. Her portrayal of Frances Lawrence, bright, energetic, impossible to ignore, began imprinting itself on the national imagination. That image followed her relentlessly. Hollywood quickly typecast her. Cute, cheerful, perfect for bubbly roles. Throughout 1966 and 1967, she appeared in guest spots and light TV projects, almost always playing the spirited girl next door. By 1973 and 1974, she starred in The Girl with Something Extra, another sitcom that kept her visible but further cemented her image. The work mattered, but each role tightened the mold. Industry insiders saw charm and energy, but not depth. They didn't see the complexity beneath. Then came the role that made her a household name and trapped her even more. In September 1967, ABC launched The Flying Nun, with Sally as Sister Bertrille, a small nun whose oversized cornet caught the wind and lifted her into the air. The concept was whimsical, almost absurd. The show ran for 3 seasons and 82 episodes, making her a national star but also turning her into a punchline she never wanted. She later admitted she hated the experience wearing the costume, hanging from wires, performing scenes built around a flying nun. It felt degrading. At the time, she craved serious work, roles with substance. Instead, she became more famous for the very kind of performance she was desperate to leave behind. When The Flying Nun ended in 1970, Sally was only 23, yet she already felt shut out from the career she wanted. Casting directors thought they knew her. Limited, lightweight, many refused to consider her for dramatic parts. One agent bluntly told her she wasn't pretty or talented enough for serious roles and should stick to sitcoms. For an ambitious actress, it was crushing. She found herself unable to land the kinds of roles she truly wanted, so she made a pivotal choice. She walked away from television comedy and enrolled at the Actors Studio in New York, determined to rebuild herself from the ground up. Around 1973, driven by frustration and determination, she sought to shed the habits ingrained by years of TV work. Under Lee Strasberg's guidance in method acting, she spent roughly 2 years unlearning the exaggerated gestures and artificial rhythms of sitcom performance. She worked to develop a more internal, nuanced approach, creating layered characters with authentic emotional lives beneath the surface. This training became the bridge between the smiling TV personality the public knew and the serious artist she aspired to be. The breakthrough came with Sybil, filmed in 1975 and broadcast in 1976. In this television movie, she played Sybil Dorset, a woman with 16 distinct personalities stemming from severe childhood abuse. It demanded an emotional range she'd never been allowed to show. She shifted between panic, terror, dissociation, and sudden transformations, sometimes multiple times in a single day. Her performance was intense, precise, and masterfully controlled. Audiences who remembered her as Gidget or the Flying Nun had to see her anew. She earned widespread acclaim and won the 1,977 Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama or Comedy Special. What made her performance so powerful was its restraint. She switched between personalities with minimal cues, no costume changes, no special effects. Just shifts in posture, voice, or gaze, and suddenly, a new person emerged. This skill silenced skeptics. Her depth, control, and emotional truth were undeniable. Sybil marked a turning point. Before, she was a TV favorite. After, she was a serious, dramatic actress Hollywood could no longer overlook. A new chapter began. In 1977, she achieved major box office success with Smokey and the Bandit, released on May 27th with a budget of about $4.3 million. It became a cultural phenomenon, earning over $126 million in the US, alone, second only to Star Wars that year. For Sally, the film proved she could draw audiences to theaters, elevating her from TV star to leading lady in cinema. It also launched a high-profile romance with co-star Burt Reynolds. Within days of meeting, they felt an instant connection, as if they'd known each other for years. Their chemistry fueled the film's success and made them one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples. They worked together again in Hooper 1978 and appeared frequently in public. Their glamorous, playful dynamic splashed across magazine covers. Fans embraced the fairy tale image. But years later, Sally revealed a different reality in Pieces, published just days after Reynolds' death on the 6th of September 2018. She described the relationship as complex and painful. While the world saw romance, she experienced control, unpredictability, and emotional distance. Reynolds' immense fame gave him power over those around him, including her. His obsession with image pulled her back into old emotional patterns rooted in her past trauma. What looked like love from the outside was, for her, marked by anxiety and confusion. Over time, the emotional toll grew harder to bear. Though he proposed multiple times during their nearly 5-year on-again, off-again relationship, she always said no, convinced he didn't truly want to marry her. She began to feel herself slipping away under the burden of his expectations. Over time, she dressed, moved, and styled herself exactly as he wished, as if pieces of her own identity were quietly vanishing. Even when Burt Reynolds later called her the love of his life, she refused to revisit that chapter. She stood by the truth she had come to accept. Ending the relationship was essential for her to move forward. This decision coincided with the rapid rise of her career, adding depth to what makes Sally Field's journey so powerful. To the public, she embodied fame, success, romance, and status in Hollywood. Yet behind that polished image, she carried unresolved childhood wounds, battles with depression, and the emotional strain of a relationship that reopened old scars. Despite all this, she made some of the boldest artistic choices of her life, pursuing roles with greater emotional complexity, which led her to Norma Rae in 1979, the performance that earned her first Academy Award. She won her second Oscar for Places in the Heart in 1984. By then, the idea of her as just a fleeting TV star had faded completely. What remained was a deeper reality. Sally Field had fought hard to be taken seriously, succeeding while carrying burdens most never saw. Her first Oscar came from Norma Rae, released on the 19th of March, 1979. She played a 33-year-old North Carolina textile worker who becomes a union organizer, a character based on real-life activist Crystal Lee Sutton. It was a role that could redefine a career. Made on a modest $3.6 million budget, the film grossed about $22 million in the US, turning a raw labor story into an unexpected hit. Field's performance drew widespread acclaim, earning her top actress honors from the New York Film Critics Circle, the National Society of Film Critics, and the 1979 Kansas City Film Festival. On the 14th of April, 1980, she won the Best Actress Oscar at the 52nd Academy Awards. In a single awards season, the former star of The Flying Nun had transformed in the public eye into a serious, influential actress. This shift wasn't just about appearance, it reflected her total commitment on set. During a tense scene in which police dragged Norma to a patrol car, Field resisted so intensely that she fractured a rib of the actor playing the officer. Filming paused while the team adjusted the choreography. The production had already been grueling. Summer heat on the North Carolina set regularly exceeded 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius, yet Field insisted on doing most of her own scenes, refusing to rely on a stunt double. The broken rib became one of those moments crew members would remember for years, a testament to how fully the 5'3" actress immersed herself in the fear and defiance of a woman fighting for her coworkers. 5 years later, she did it again. Her second Oscar came for Places in the Heart, released the 21st of September 1984, where she portrayed Edna Spaulding, a 1,935 Texas widow, struggling to save her farm after her sheriff husband is killed. When she won Best Actress at the 57th Academy Awards on the 25th of March 1985, she delivered one of the most quoted acceptance speeches in Oscar history. "I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me." Though often misquoted, the emotion behind it was unmistakable. The moment resonated because it carried years of self-doubt. Filming had been physically taxing, long days in cotton fields, dust storms, relentless schedules, but the emotional weight was heavier. The actress, once dismissed as a television performer, now stood before Hollywood as a two-time Oscar winner, and for the first time, she seemed to believe she truly belonged. What made this era even more significant was what she chose between those two triumphs. She consistently sought out complex, flawed women. In Absence of Malice, 1981, she played a Miami reporter whose investigation ruins an innocent man. In Murphy's Romance, 1985, she starred alongside James Garner as a divorced single mother in a small Arizona town. Then, in Steel Magnolias, 1989, she delivered a devastating cemetery breakdown as Malin, a mother shattered by her diabetic daughter's death. These roles could have slipped into melodrama, but Field never let them. She brought sharp edges, dry wit, and moral ambiguity to each character. By the end of the 1980s, she had become one of Hollywood's most trusted faces for portraying emotionally layered women. Yet success on screen didn't shield her from what happened off it. Even during this peak, she worked in an industry where actresses could face deep humiliation. In her 2018 memoir In Pieces, she described a 1970s audition with director Bob Rafelson, one that haunted her for decades. He told her he couldn't hire anyone who wasn't a good kisser, then asked her to remove her shirt and kiss him to prove it. She complied, got the role in Stay Hungry, and carried the shame long after filming ended. Years later, Rafelson denied the encounter, calling it false. But the larger truth remains hard to dismiss. Powerful men often have the privilege to erase or deny such moments, while women are left to live with their impact. By the 1990s, Field entered what seemed like a quieter phase only to reinvent herself once more. This time, she became a box office force. In 1993, she played Miranda Hillard in Mrs. Doubtfire, the composed but overwhelmed ex-wife opposite Robin Williams. The film earned over $400 million worldwide, becoming one of Fox's biggest family hits. A year later, she appeared as Mrs. Gump in Forrest Gump, the 6th of July, 1994, a film that won 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, and grossed over $677 million globally. For 2 summers in a row, Sally Field anchored 2 of the decade's most successful films. This makes the casting with Tom Hanks especially striking. In Punchline, 1988, Field played Lacey, a New Jersey housewife chasing a stand-up comedy dream opposite Hank's Stephen Gold. There was chemistry, tension, and a sense of equals. She was 41, he was 32. Just 6 years later, they appeared in Forrest Gump as mother and son, despite being only about 10 years apart in real age. The speed of that shift speaks volumes about how Hollywood views aging women. Field didn't need to comment the casting set at all. Still, audiences stayed with her because she made every role feel real and complete. Those who once knew her from Gidget and the Flying Nun now saw her as the woman holding everything together. In Steel Magnolias, Malin keeps her composure in tragedy. In Mrs. Doubtfire, Miranda shoulders responsibility and maintains order. In Forrest Gump, Mrs. Gump shapes her son's life through brief but profound moments. As these roles accumulated, Field evolved beyond the typical actress into someone who embodied emotional truth. By the end of the 1990s, she had become one of American cinema's defining maternal figures: strong, warm, authentic, unforgettable. The awards reflected this. Long before, she had already won 2 Oscars for Norma Ray and Places in the Heart. Nominations kept coming as she moved into ensemble and supporting parts. The Golden Globes gave her 11 nominations and 2 wins, honoring work in Kiss Me Goodbye, Steel Magnolias, and later her TV roles in A Woman of Independent Means and Brothers and Sisters. Even Forrest Gump, with limited screen time, earned her recognition from BAFTA and SAG. In an industry quick to overlook women past 40, Field continued receiving serious acclaim well into middle age. Behind that celebrated public persona, however, private pain persisted. While filming Mrs. Doubtfire, she later revealed she never laughed at Robin Williams' constant improvisations. Even when the crew erupted in laughter, she stayed focused, something that reportedly frustrated him. Then, her father passed away during production. When Williams found out, he stopped joking immediately, shut down filming for the day, told the crew to wrap, and personally walked her off the San Francisco set. The moment stands out because it holds 2 truths. She was making a major studio comedy, yet grieving a deep personal loss. She maintained her discipline and privacy, even amid chaos. Then came another shift, this time back to television, in a way few expected. In 2000, after decades in film, she joined ER as Maggie Wichensky, mother of nurse Abby Lockhart, who lives with bipolar disorder. She appeared from 2000 to 2006, and her performance felt anything but guest star shallow. She portrayed manic and depressive episodes with heartbreaking precision, forcing critics still tied to her early TV image to see her anew. In September 2001, she won the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series, a milestone proving she could master modern TV drama. Her next role pushed further. In Brothers and Sisters, 2006-2011, she played Nora Walker, matriarch of a sprawling, turbulent family. The series ran 109 episodes. Initially, Betty Buckley was cast, but producers realized Nora needed someone who could carry the show's emotional core and turned to Field. The choice paid off. In 2007, she won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, her 3rd Emmy. In 2009, she added a SAG Award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Drama Series. She became a defining maternal presence for a new generation, this time on national TV. Even in her 60s, she kept challenging herself. In 2012, she took on Mary Todd Lincoln in Spielberg's Lincoln, opposite Daniel Day-Lewis. Spielberg initially thought she was too old, but Field fought hard for the part. She gained about 24 pounds, 11 kilograms, to match historical records, studied biographies, and examined archival materials. The effort earned her an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress and praise for capturing Mary's instability, intelligence, grief, and pressure without softening her edges. Around the same time, younger audiences knew her as Aunt May in The Amazing Spider-Man 2012 and its 2014 sequel. Within a decade, she moved from the White House of the 1860s to a billion-dollar superhero franchise, convincing in both. Then in 2015, at nearly 69, she starred in Hello, My Name is Doris as a shy Staten Island office worker who falls for a much younger colleague. What made the performance remarkable was its honesty. Doris is awkward, lonely, anxious, lost in fantasy yet never pitiable. Field didn't seek sympathy. She let the character be messy, painful, real. In doing so, she challenged Hollywood's habit of rendering women over 60 either invisible or harmless. Doris was neither. She felt vibrantly human. Off-screen, Field grew more open about her past. In Pieces, published the 18th of September 2018, at age 71, she revealed that her stepfather, actor and stuntman Jock Mahoney, had sexually abused her from childhood into her teens. She also wrote about having a secret abortion in Tijuana at 17, before Gidget made her famous, and revisited the Raffleson audition that left a lasting mark. Her relationship with Burt Reynolds, lasting from the late 70s to early 80s, she described as turbulent, painful, and emotionally damaging. For many readers, the memoir reshaped how they saw her entire career. Her composure now read as resilience. It also changed how people viewed her performances. After In Pieces, critics re-examined her most intense roles like Sybil 1976-77, where she played a woman shaped by childhood trauma. That performance, once seen as brilliant acting, now felt deeply personal, almost unbearable in hindsight. Norma Ray gained new meaning too. Her character's refusal to stay silent, to shrink, to give in under pressure, suddenly felt connected to something private and urgent within Field herself. The book didn't diminish her work. It deepened it. It suggested that for years, some of her greatest performances had carried fragments of a struggle audiences never knew. Around this time, recognition came in new forms. In 2015, Barack Obama awarded her the 2014 National Medal of Arts, honoring the dignity, compassion, and courage in her work and advocacy. In 2019, she was named a Kennedy Center honoree, celebrating over 50 years of unforgettable contributions. On the 26th of February 2023, she received the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award, becoming the 58th recipient. She was also elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, an honor rarely given to actors. These weren't minor accolades. They felt like the industry finally acknowledging the full breadth of her life and legacy.